The Brooklyn Nets fall in game 2 of the first round to the Philadelphia 76ers, 96-84. And I wanted to talk to our guy, Bryan Fonseca. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Always appreciate being on.
Of course. And I wanted to talk to you about how to break down this game. The biggest story tonight was obviously the Brooklyn Nets were up by 5 going into halftime, but the 76ers came back in the second half and they really turned it on. What was the key, or what did you see for the 76ers to really get back into this game and ultimately win it?
The Nets early on did a great job of neutralizing Joel Embiid and James Harden. The problem is Tyrese Maxey had a good first half, carried that into the second half, and Joel Embiid woke up. And that was what really did him in. And it wasn't one of those big Joel Embiid scoring nights where at times he's had 40 and 45 points and things like that. He only ended with 20, but it was really creating opportunities for others. He had a 7-assist game. He was turning the ball over a lot early on. That sort of was cut out throughout the course of the game. The Nets squandered a great defensive game, a great defensive game. Anytime you can hold an NBA team in this age under 100 points, even in the playoffs, salute to you. But they weren't able to capitalize because they couldn't muster enough offense, and Joel Embiid was able to dominate them on the glass, where he had almost 20 rebounds, and the Sixers had a 56-33 rebounding advantage. And the other thing with the Nets is not being able to muster up enough offense, as I pointed out. They only had a couple guys really get it going. Cam Johnson had a great game. Don't know if he's going to be able to replicate that, but he had a great game. And then Mikal Bridges, who wasn't the typical Mikal Bridges you've seen, but still had a strong offensive game. But other than that, you couldn't really get anything going.
Yeah, they really couldn't. And they only shot 31% from the 3-point line, which was obviously not going to help you in this type of matchup. My question to you is it seems like the Nets obviously focused defensively a lot on Embiid, and it's a physical toll it takes to match up defensively against the 76ers. Could you see that toll taking could you see that defensive battle taking its toll on the Nets shooting tonight?
Yeah, I mean, look, it can wear you down for sure. And then the Nets also aren't like a team loaded with marksmen necessarily.
Mm,
Like they need to be able to play above their level to hang in this series. And right now, they say a series hasn't begun, so the road team wins the home so the underdog wins the road game. That hasn't happened yet. And ultimately, you just squandered a couple things here that are going to be hard to replicate. One of them being a bad James Harden game. And I'm somebody who's down on James Harden
mm.
generally, but a straight up bad James Harden game where not only did he shoot 3 of 13 from the field, finished with 8 points, 2 of 8 from 3, looked uncomfortable, looked kind of slow, wasn't really getting by people the way he normally would, did not have a single free throw attempt. How often does James Harden not have a single free throw attempt in a game? And then obviously Tyrese Maxey was the guy who really killed you on offense, who was actually getting to his spots, who was very aggressive, is somebody who I'm surprised at the free throw rate he has. It's a little bit lower than I would assume because he's somebody who's not scared of contact and only even had a couple free throws, 3 free throws in today's game. But ultimately, yeah, I think that can wear down on you because guarding these guys isn't easy. And then on top of that, you have to overcompensate with very good offense in order to beat
Right.
this team. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it.
Well, ultimately, I got to ask you, Bryan, down 2-0 in the series now. What can the Nets do? What's the key to them get back in this series and take game 3?
Well, they played a good game in terms of not turning the ball over with only 9, and they forced 19 turnovers for the Sixers and weren't able to take advantage of that. Really, because they shot 31% from 3.
Yeah.
And the 3-point shot is just a huge part in basketball, period, but especially in today's NBA. Like, you have to hit enough threes, and the variance needs to be in their favor. You just got to be home and hit shots. That's what it's going to come down to. Create those open looks and take advantage of it because, on a team that's anchored by Joel Embiid, it's going to be difficult to get in there and just, carve them up in the lane and on the interior and things of that nature. So really, you got to be able to create those good looks. Mikal Bridges hopefully is still Mikal Bridges for their sake. If Cam Johnson could replicate his performance, salute to them. But if you're shooting 31% from 3 against this team who's better than you, you're probably just not going to win a lot of games. And that's just the way the game is now.
Well, it's been a struggle, obviously, the first 2 games for the Nets to try and get going here. Hopefully, game 3, when they play on Thursday against the Sixers back in Brooklyn, we can see how it goes. But, Bryan, thank you as always for giving us your insight, man.
Absolutely. Anytime.